choosing yourself in a crowded world that never sleeps. So how do we do that? And is it important even to choose ourselves and to pay more attention to ourselves? But I would like to address you this question. Who here climbed a tree in the last month? Anyone? Okay, we have one hand, thank you. Anyone else? Did anyone climb a tree in the last month? Well, no, we are, I don't know how many people here, but only one person did that, okay? But actually, this kind of thing, climbing a tree, for example, would be something that people would do, okay? Not long ago, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. But then I would ask you, who spent hours and hours online this week alone? Teenagers and adults as well. Adults may raise their hand as well. Okay, so lots of hands. Yeah, because the reality is that our life in a way moved from living it outside, outdoors, to living it inside. And we don't realize that this changes our physiology and the way that our brain works and our nervous system, and the way that we can manage our emotions and our thoughts and our decisions and our reactions. Whenever we are online, we are not just connected to an image or a reel or a song or your favorite superstar or influencer or whatever that might be. You actually allow and invite the entire planet inside your hand. And not only inside your hand, but inside your body and your physiology. Because whenever you are online, and we know from data, we know from clinical, psychological studies that, for example, the average teenager this year spends around 7 to 8 hours per day online. But actually, let me tell you that I work with a lot of teenagers, and many of them confide in me and tell me that when they check their phones, and that's like a secret, and parents are not aware of this, but many admit that during the weekends, for example, they might be online even up to 14 or 15 hours per day, which is a lot. And I know that it's kind of like tempting because it feels good, right? Whenever you are online, you are, again, listening to your music and you are checking on people that you like, you read commentaries, you have that feeling that you are connected. But actually, all that content that gets inside your head might disrupt, again, your physiological, your physical health, and also your psychological health. Did this happen to any of you to become aware at some point that, oh, you've been online for, I don't know, 3 hours or 4 hours, and you didn't realize that it was such a long time? Did this happen to anyone? Thank you for being honest and brave, my friend, and Ms. Roxana as well, and I see several other hands. And I have to be honest, and I have to admit, it happened to me as well. Sometimes when I'm thinking about, oh, I would like to finish an article or prepare a post or something for the programs that I have, sometimes it feels like, oh, I need 2 hours for this task and it's too much and I don't have this time. But then one day later, I would just become aware that, oh, I've been just mindlessly scrolling for 3 hours. And no, that would be the time that I could have used to finish that project or to meet somebody in real life. And now we come to a point where we have to realize that it becomes really difficult to stop. I know that those of you who are really young, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, but probably your parents told you a lot of times, please put that phone away, okay? I'm gonna turn the internet off, cancel your subscription, I'm gonna take the phone away, okay? Who heard that? At least one, okay? Okay, thank you. I'm sure maybe most of you heard that. And for us, the adults, maybe we don't have another adult telling us to put the phone away, but it would be the same thing for us, for the adults. We know from all the research that have been conducted in the past years that it changes how the brain works in a way that it becomes physically, emotionally, very, very difficult to stop. Because it spikes the dopamine and you get that feeling that, oh my God, I really want to see this, and the next post, and the next reel, and the next video, and I really have to check on those comments. And I really have like 12 notifications from 5 groups, so I can't go to bed, I can't sleep, I can't put the phone away unless I check all those. Okay? But this becomes our trap, because we feel that we are connected and we get that feeling that, yes, I'm on top of things and I know everything and what happens with people, with important people around me. But the trap and the paradox is this: the more we are online, scrolling without realizing what we are doing, we are actually wasting one of our most important and precious resources, which would be time. Yeah, time. And the time is like, it's the time and the space, because when you have time and when you learn how to use time, actually in that time you could have or you could create experiences. That's exactly the time in which you might fall in love, or you might have an important conversation with someone, or you might learn something that would enable you to feel like, confident and happy, and that you are really doing something that has meaning for you. The thing is that the more we spend time online, the more our brain, physiologically, is gonna crave that feeling of being online. Okay? So this is why nowadays I think it's really important to maybe have again and again this conversation about how can we help ourselves and how can we still keep in contact with ourselves when technology and all the apps and all the information that we get online seems to be so almost like seductive and interesting, and you feel like you can't continue your day without getting online. Okay? That would be, for example, a real challenge, to try to choose one day per month in which maybe you check only like the important messages with, let's say, closest friends and family, but then to try not to get online. And I must tell you that from all the people I've talked with, I work with, especially young people, tell me, Miss, that would be impossible. One day without my phone or my iPad or my laptop. Seems impossible, right? But actually, when we learn how to put aside the technology, even for like a little bit of time, we do not lose something. We gain something. We gain time to laugh and time to pay attention to ourselves and time to give some space to our body and to our brain, because we really need like a reset from time to time. What I can say that I've noticed in the past, I think, 5 to 7 years is that people, and also young people, are feeling a lot more anxious, okay, and a lot more sad or even like depressed, and they feel like they are always in contact with someone, but they feel lonely. Did anyone have this feeling that you are connected always, but you are actually lonely? That maybe sometimes you don't realize if the person who is on the other side and who is texting you and sending you, 5 reels per minute or emojis or whatever, you don't actually know. Do they pay attention to you and to whatever it is that you are trying to tell them? Or are they just automatically sending a response while they speak with someone else, laugh with someone else, listening to some music, paying attention to a movie or whatever? Whenever someone is doing this, it means they are not really paying attention to you. Maybe you would need a moment in which, I don't know, to put your heart there in front of someone and maybe to say that, hey, I've had such a really awful day. Or, hey, my best friend, I don't know, dumped me, ignored me, told me a nasty thing today. But the thing is that healing does not happen when you are alone or when you are disconnected from someone. So this is why it's really important to try to go beyond this paradox in which we are always connected to someone else, but actually we are lonely. And I've also witnessed something in the past couple of years working with teenagers. Many of them talk to me about this feeling of misunderstandings in their connections and communications, okay? Because if we interpret something only through texting and how many words and emojis and did he send me just a smiley or like a yellow heart or was it like a red heart and what does it mean? Oh, but he sent a red heart to another colleague of mine and so on. So the idea is that this type of communication online is very, let's say, triggering for misunderstandings. You can never know for sure what that person wanted to say or if they understood what you wanted to tell them, okay? And we can't overcome that unless we try to go back to basics, which would be, hi, how are you? I'm glad to see you. You know, we have eye contact. Maybe if it's comfortable for both of us, you know, I would give a hug, for example, to Miss Roxana, okay? Maybe if I would have a bad day, for example, Miss Roxana, thank you for being my partner, co-partner, maybe Miss Roxana would feel, you know, looking at my eyes and my mouth and my facial expressions, maybe she would understand that I have a really bad day. So maybe she would just hug me and hold me for a few seconds more. And you know what would happen in just those 5 seconds more? I would feel a little bit cared for and seen, and I would feel that I'm not alone with my pain or with my suffering or with my disappointment. And this is, my dears, exactly the moment when a person can feel that they can manage whatever the life throws at them, and they can get to the next step, and they can survive another difficult day. So my invitation for you today would be to try to choose yourself in this sense, to try to befriend silence in your life. Because, you know, whenever we are connected, it's never like silence with answer in our hands. So how about trying for, let's say, 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes compared to those 8 hours you are online, okay? But how about for 2 minutes every day, you try to put your phone away, your, you know, your bags and everything. You're not listening to music. Maybe you go like in front of a window, okay, or outside if you have like a nice garden or in your schoolyard. And you say, okay, for 2 minutes, I am with myself. Because I want to allow my brain and my heart and my mind and my body to know that we are all together a great team. And if I allow myself to listen to myself and to make space for myself, then it's going to be better when I go outside in the world and I hug someone, or I send someone a text, or I talk with someone else, or I learn online, okay? So maybe you will consider like this challenge or this invitation to befriend silence, and also to try to put the phone or the laptop or the iPad away sometimes, and to breathe in deeply, and to remember that, hey, it's a great time to be human. Yeah, we have AI, and we have automation and digital everything, but you know what? Especially in those times, I think it's great to remember that it's a wonderful time to be humans, and only together we can remember and we can remind ourselves that we are humans, and this is precious. So thank you.